Are you ready to level up your career as a Python web developer? Building scalable, secure, and efficient web applications requires more than just knowing syntax. It requires mastering the entire ecosystem. In this video, we will cover Python web development practice questions and certification exam prep. Master Python web development with this comprehensive MCQ practice session. In this video, we dive deep into 30 essential practice questions covering Django, Flask, FastAPI, REST APIs, and web security to prepare you for the Python web development certification. Make sure to grab a pen and paper to track your score as we go through these high-yield exam questions. In Django, what is the primary purpose of the middleware component? Option A. To define the database schema and table relationships. Option B. To process requests and responses globally before they reach the view or leave the server. Option C. To handle the front-end rendering of HTML templates. Option D. To manage static files like CSS and JavaScript. The correct answer is B. Django middleware is a framework of hooks into Django's request-response processing. It's a light, low-level plugin system for globally altering Django's input or output. Each middleware component is responsible for doing some specific function. For example, Django includes middleware that adds a user attribute to every incoming HTTP request object using sessions, or the CSRF middleware which adds security tokens to outgoing responses to prevent cross-site request forgery. It acts as a bridge between the web server and the view. What is the function of the app.root decorator in a Flask application? Option A. It initializes the Flask application instance. Option B. It connects the database to the specific function. Option C. It binds a URL pattern to a specific Python function. Option D. It converts Python dictionaries into JSON responses automatically. The correct answer is C. In Flask, the app.root decorator is used to map a specific URL to a function that will handle the logic for that URL. This is known as routing. When a user visits the URL specified in the decorator, Flask executes the decorated function and returns its return value as a response to the browser. This allows for a clean and declarative way to define the API or website structure without manual mapping tables. When using SQL Alchemy ORM, what does the lazy loading strategy refer to? Option A. Loading all related objects immediately in a single join query. Option B. Postponing the loading of related objects until the attribute is accessed for the first time. Option C. A method to speed up database migrations by skipping constraints. Option D. Loading only the primary keys of the objects to save memory. The correct answer is B. Lazy loading is the default behavior in SQL Alchemy for relationship attributes. When you query an object, SQL Alchemy only fetches the data for that specific object. If that object has a relationship, like a user having many posts, the posts are not fetched from the database until you actually try to access the posts attribute in your code. While this saves initial memory and query time, it can lead to the N+1 problem if not managed correctly, where many individual queries are fired in a loop. Why does FastAPI recommend using async def for path operation functions? Option A. It makes the code execute faster on a single core CPU regardless of the task. Option B. It allows the server to handle other requests while waiting for I/O-bound tasks like database calls. Option C. It is a requirement for all Python 3.10 plus web applications. Option D. It automatically encrypts the data being sent over the network. The correct answer is B. FastAPI is built on Starlet and supports asynchronous programming out of the box. By using async-def, you allow the event loop to pause the execution of a specific request handler while it waits for an external resource, like a database query or an external API call, to respond. During this wait time, the server can process other incoming requests. This leads to significantly higher concurrency and better resource utilization compared to traditional synchronous blocking frameworks. Which of the following best describes cross-site scripting (XSS) in a web application context? Option A. An attacker tricks a user into submitting a form to a different website. Option B. An attacker injects malicious client-side scripts into web pages viewed by other users. Option C. An attacker sends a large volume of traffic to crash the server. Option D. An attacker guesses the admin password using a dictionary attack. The correct answer is B. Cross-site scripting, XSS, is a vulnerability where an application includes untrusted data in a web page without proper validation or escaping. This allows an attacker to execute malicious scripts, usually JavaScript, in the victim's browser. This can be used to steal session cookies, redirect users, or deface websites. Modern Python frameworks like Django and Jinja 2, used by Flask, have built-in auto-escaping to mitigate this risk. But developers must still be cautious when using safe filters or raw HTML output. Which HTTP method should be used to partially update an existing resource in a RESTful API? Option A, put. Option B, post. Option C, patch. Option D, update. The correct answer is C. In RESTful design, the patch method is intended for partial updates to a resource. For example, if you want to change only the email address of a user, you send a patch request with just the email field. In contrast, the put method is typically used for a full update, where the client sends the entire representation of the resource, effectively replacing the old one. Post is usually for creating new resources, and update is not a standard HTTP method. What is the result of using select_related in a Django query set? Option A. It performs a separate SQL query for each related object. Option B. It performs an SQL join and includes the fields of the related object in the select statement. Option C. It filters the results based on a specific relationship criteria. Option D. It caches the results of the query in Redis. The correct answer is B. The select_related method in Django is a performance optimization used for one-to-many or one-to-one relationships. It follows foreign key relationships, selecting additional related object data when it executes its query. It does this via an SQL join. This prevents the n+1 foot problem because the related data is retrieved in a single database hit. For many-to-many or many-to-one reverse relationships, prefetch_related should be used instead. What is Gunicorn's role in a production Python web application deployment? Option A. It serves as the primary database management system. Option B. It is a WSGI HTTP server that runs the Python application and manages multiple worker processes. Option C. It is a front-end framework used to create responsive UI components. Option D. It acts as a reverse proxy to handle SSL termination. The correct answer is B. Gunicorn, Green Unicorn, is a Python WSGI web server gateway interface HTTP server. In production, Python frameworks like Django or Flask are not designed to handle high volumes of concurrent HTTP requests directly. Gunicorn sits between a web server, like Nginx, and your Python code, managing a pool of worker processes that handle the actual execution of your application logic, providing stability and scalability. In JWT, JSON Web Token authentication, what is the purpose of the signature part? Option A. To encrypt the payload so it cannot be read by the client. Option B. To store the user's password securely. Option C. To verify that the sender of the JWT is who it says it is and to ensure the message wasn't changed. Option D. To define the expiration time of the token. The correct answer is C. A JWT consists of three parts: header, payload, and signature. The signature is created by taking the encoded header, the encoded payload, a secret key, and the algorithm specified in the header, and signing them. The signature is used to verify that the token hasn't been altered along the way, while the payload is visible to anyone. Base 64 encoded. It cannot be modified without invalidating the signature, unless the attacker has the secret key. What does Pydantic provide to a FastAPI application? Option A. Database migrations and version control. Option B. Data validation and settings management using Python type annotations. Option C. Asynchronous database drivers for PostgreSQL. Option D. A template engine for rendering HTML pages. The correct answer is B. FastAPI relies heavily on Pydantic for data validation. When you define a Pydantic model with type hints, FastAPI uses it to parse incoming request data, validate it against the defined types, e.g., ensuring an age field is an integer, and generate detailed error messages if the data is invalid. It also handles the serialization of Python objects into JSON for responses, making the API development process type safe and efficient. What is the difference between WSGI and ASGI? Option A. WSGI is for Python 2, and ASGI is for Python 3. Option B. WSGI is synchronous, while ASGI supports both synchronous and asynchronous communication. Option C. WSGI is used for databases, and ASGI is used for web servers. Option D. There is no difference. They are interchangeable names. The correct answer is B. WSGI, Web Server Gateway Interface, has been the standard for Python web apps for years but is strictly synchronous. It handles one request at a time per worker. ASGI, Asynchronous Server Gateway Interface, is the successor to WSGI and provides an interface between async-capable Python web servers, frameworks, and applications. ASGI allows for handling multiple concurrent events, like WebSockets or long polling. because it is built on Python's asyncio. In a Django template, how do you display a variable named username? Option A, username. Option B, username. Option C, %username%. Option D, less than username greater than. The correct answer is B. Django's template language uses double curly braces to output variables. When the template engine encounters this syntax, it evaluates the variable and replaces it with the result. Single curly braces with %signs %% are used for template tags. Logic like loops and if statements, but not for direct variable output. Which Flask extension is most commonly used for handling database migrations? Option A, Flask SQL Alchemy. Option B, Flask Login. Option C, Flask Migrate. Option D, Flask WTF. The correct answer is C. Flask Migrate is an extension that handles SQL Alchemy database migrations for Flask applications. Using Alembic, it allows developers to make changes to their database models in Python code and then migrate those changes into the actual database schema without losing data, providing a command line interface for upgrading and downgrading the database version. What is the primary benefit of using blueprints in Flask? Option A. They increase the speed of the application's database queries. Option B. They allow for the modular organization of large applications. Option C. They automatically generate documentation for the API. Option D. They provide a way to bypass the need for an app instance. The correct answer is B. A blueprint in Flask is a way to organize a group of related views and other code. Rather than registering views directly with an application, they are registered with a blueprint. Then the blueprint is registered with the application when it is created in the factory function. This promotes modularity, making large applications easier to maintain and allowing components to be reused across different projects. What is the purpose of a CSRF token? Option A. To encrypt sensitive data stored in the browser's local storage. Option B. To ensure that a state-changing request is coming from the authenticated user's session and not a third-party site. Option C. To prevent hackers from performing SQL injection attacks. Option D. To speed up the login process using cached credentials. The correct answer is B. Cross-site request forgery, CSRF, is an attack where a malicious site tricks a user's browser into performing an action on a different site where the user is logged in. A CSRF token is a unique, secret, and unpredictable value generated by the server-side application. The server includes this token in forms, and the client must send it back in the request if the token is missing or incorrect. The server rejects the request, ensuring the request originated from the intended application. What does the 404 HTTP status code represent? Option A. Internal server error. Option B. Unauthorized access. Option C. Resource not found. Option D. Bad request. The correct answer is C. The 404 not found client error response code indicates that the server cannot find the requested resource. Links that admit to a 404 are often called broken or dead links. It is one of the most common status codes on the web. It's important to distinguish it from 403, forbidden, or 401, unauthorized, where the resource exists but access is denied. In Django models, what does on_delete equals models cascade do in a foreign key field? Option A. It prevents the parent object from being deleted if child objects exist. Option B. It sets the foreign key field to null when the parent object is deleted. Option C. It deletes all child objects that reference the parent object when the parent is deleted. Option D. It creates a backup of the deleted data in a separate table. The correct answer is C. The on_delete parameter defines the behavior of the database when a referenced object, the parent, is deleted. Models cascade is a common setting where, if the parent record is deleted, all records in the current model that point to that parent via the foreign key will also be deleted automatically. This is essential for maintaining referential integrity in relational databases. What is the purpose of mocking in Python unit tests for web development? Option A. To simulate the behavior of external dependencies, like APIs or databases, to isolate the code being tested. Option B. To check if the user interface looks identical to the design mockups. Option C. To create fake data to populate a production database for stress testing. Option D. To automatically generate documentation for the test cases. The correct answer is A. Mocking is a technique used in unit testing to replace real objects with mock objects that simulate the behavior of the real ones. This is particularly useful in web development to avoid making actual network calls or database writes during a test run. By mocking an external API, you can ensure your tests are fast, reliable, and test only the logic of your code without being affected by the status of external services. How does Redis improve the performance of a Python web application? Option A. By replacing the primary relational database with an in-memory storage system. Option B. By acting as a caching layer to store frequently accessed data in RAM for faster retrieval. Option C. By optimizing the Python bytecode before execution. Option D. By compressing all outgoing HTTP responses automatically. The correct answer is B. Redis is an in-memory data structure store, used as a database, cache, and message broker. In Python web development, it's frequently used to cache the results of expensive database queries or rendered template fragments. Because RAM is much faster than disk storage, where traditional databases live, retrieving data from Redis significantly reduces latency and server load. What is dependency injection in the context of FastAPI? Option A. A method to inject malicious code into a database query. Option B. A pattern where a function declares what it needs, like a DB session, and the framework provides it. Option C. A way to automatically install Python packages using pip. Option D. A security feature that prevents cross-site request forgery. The correct answer is B. Dependency injection in FastAPI allows you to define shared logic dependencies that can be easily plugged into your path operation functions. For example, instead of manually opening and closing a database connection in every view, you create a dependency that handles this. FastAPI then injects the active connection into the function. This promotes code reuse. simplifies testing, and keeps your view logic clean. What is the main purpose of the content type header in an HTTP response? Option A. To tell the server which language the user prefers. Option B. To inform the client, browser, about the media type of the returned resource, e.g., text HTML, application JSON. Option C. To provide the authentication token for the current session. Option D. To specify the length of the response in bytes. The correct answer is B. The content type entity header is used to indicate the media type of the resource. In responses, a content type header tells the client what the content type of the returned content actually is. Browsers use this header to determine how to render or process the data. If it says application JSON, the browser treats it as data. If it says text HTML, it renders it as a web page. What is the purpose of Django signals? Option A. To notify the frontend that the data has changed using WebSockets. Option B. To allow decoupled applications to get notified when certain actions occur elsewhere in the framework. Option C. To send push notifications to mobile devices. Option D. To manage the routing of URLs in complex applications. The correct answer is B. Django includes a signal dispatcher, which helps decoupled applications get notified when actions occur elsewhere in the framework. In a nutshell, signals allow certain senders to notify a set of receivers that some action has taken place. For example, you can use the post_save signal to automatically create a user profile every time a new user object is created in the database, without modifying the user model's code. In a RESTful API, what does the 201 status code signify? Option A. The request was successful and a new resource was created. Option B. The request was successful and returned existing data. Option C. The server has accepted the request but hasn't processed it yet. Option D. The resource has moved permanently to a new URL. The correct answer is A. The HTTP 201 created success status response code indicates that the request has succeeded and has led to the creation of a resource. The new resource is effectively created before this status code is sent back. This is the standard response for a successful post request that results in a new entry in a database. What is the function of the queue object in Django's ORM? Option A. To perform complex database queries using ORM and logic. Option B. To queue background tasks for later execution. Option C. To create a quantum-safe encryption for passwords. Option D. To represent a specific database table in Python. The correct answer is A. A queue object in Django. Django DB models queue is an object used to encapsulate a collection of keyword arguments. These keyword arguments are specified as in field lookups. Queue objects can be combined using the and, or operators. This allows for complex filtering that isn't possible with standard keyword arguments in a filter method, which are always ANDED together. In Flask, what is G, the global object? Option A. A global variable that persists across all users and all requests. Option B. An object used to store data that should be shared across different functions during a single request. Option C. A shorthand for the Google Analytics integration in Flask. Option D. The main entry point for the Flask application. The correct answer is B. In Flask, Flask G is a special object that is unique to each request. It is used to store data that might be needed by multiple functions during that specific request. For example, a database connection or the currently logged in user. It is not persistent across different requests or different users. It provides a clean way to pass data without passing it as an argument to every function. What is the purpose of pip in Python development? Option A. To compile Python code into executable files. Option B. To manage and install Python packages and libraries. Option C. To debug Python code during runtime. Option D. To host Python web applications in the cloud. The correct answer is B. Pip is the package installer for Python. You can use pip to install packages from the Python package index, pipi, and other indexes. In web development, you use pip to install frameworks like Django or Flask, and other utility libraries. It handles dependencies automatically, ensuring that all required packages for a specific library are also installed. What is SQL injection, and how do Python ORMs help prevent it? Option A. It's a way to inject Python code into SQL. ORMs prevent it by using faster compilers. Option B. It's an attack where malicious SQL is inserted into input fields. ORMs prevent it by using parameterized queries. Option C. It's a method to speed up database queries. ORMs prevent it by caching the results. Option D. It's a type of DDoS attack. ORMs prevent it by limiting request rates. The correct answer is B. SQL injection occurs when an attacker can interfere with the queries that an application makes to its database. This is usually done by putting SQL commands into input forms. Python ORMs, like Django ORM or SQL Alchemy, prevent this by using parameterized queries or prepared statements. This means that the user input is treated as data, not as executable code, making it impossible for the attacker to change the structure of the SQL query. Which of these is a Python ASGI server? Option A. Gunicorn. Option B. Uvicorn. Option C. Apache. Option D. Nginx. The correct answer is B. Uvicorn is a lightning-fast ASGI server implementation, using UV loop and HTTP tools. It is the recommended server for running asynchronous frameworks like FastAPI or Starlet, while Gunicorn is a WSGI server. It can be configured to run Uvicorn workers to support ASGI applications in production. What is CORS, cross-origin resource sharing? Option A. A method for compressing web files for faster loading. Option B. A security mechanism that allows or restricts resources on a web page to be requested from another domain. Option C. A protocol for connecting different databases together. Option D. A way to manage multiple Python versions on a single machine. The correct answer is B. CORS is a browser-based security feature that restricts web pages from making requests to a different domain than the one that served the web page. For example, if your front-end is on example.com and your API is on api.example.com, The browser will block requests unless the API server explicitly allows example.com via specific HTTP headers. Access control allow origin. This prevents malicious sites from reading sensitive data from other sites. What does the value, default, nothing filter do in a Django template? Option A. It sets the variable value to the string nothing in the database. Option B. It displays nothing if the variable value is false, none, or an empty string. Option C. It deletes the variable value from the template context. Option D. It encrypts the variable value for security. The correct answer is B. The default filter in Django templates provides a fallback value if the variable is considered falsy, e.g., none, empty string, empty list, 0, or false. This is extremely useful for ensuring that your UI doesn't look broken or empty when certain data is missing from the context passed by the view. That wraps up our 30-question deep dive into Python web development. How many did you get right? Let us know your score in the comments. If you found this helpful, hit the like button and subscribe for more deep dive technical content and exam prep sessions. For the full-length practice exams and detailed study guides, check the link in the description below.